Good morning and welcome back. I hope you all had a lovely week. This week we've got a few different things that we're going to be cooking this week. It's mostly a pastry week this week, most desserts and bacon sort of thing. I'm not the best baker in the world, but I'm going to try anyway. So in front of me here we've got soufflés that I've made this morning, and then over here we've got some red velvet and white chocolate cookies that I've made as well. Now the ovens have all been preset in preparation for doing these first. So each of the ovens at the moment is on a combi mode, and they're on 60% humidity at 160 degrees, and that's just for the soufflés to go in. These will probably cook. I'll probably cook them at the same time, at the same temperature, same humidity, but I'm not going to do them in the same time as these. So I promise you I'll do soufflés this week, so we've got it all ready for you. I just hope they turn out all right, because I've never made one before, but I understand the sort of concept behind it, so hopefully they work out all right today. So as I said, the only one that couldn't set on 60% was this one, because it's only got 3 levels of humidity. So I've put it on the middle one, which is probably about 50% somewhere there or thereabouts. So this one is ever so slightly different, but the reason Convotherm do that is just more for simplicity. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get them all in. I think they're going to take about 12 to 15 minutes to cook. I'm not going to put a timer on, because when the timer goes off, the oven will stop cooking. And if they're not quite ready at 12 minutes, they're going to deflate. And then when I try and heat them back up again, it might not work out too well. So I'm not going to put a timer on for these ones for that reason. So I'm going to get them all in and get them all cooking. There we go, all in. How I made them this morning was a basic sort of recipe for soufflés, so egg whites and sugar and a puree. So I made a raspberry puree for them. They've all been done the exact same way, so they've all had the dishes buttered. On the sides of the walls, they've been brushed straight up. So I did it once, chilled it, did it again, and then coated it in sugar, and then that's how and then I put the soufflé mix inside there. So that's the process for all 4 of them, all been done exactly the same way. So hopefully they all turn out all right. I thought it'd be an interesting one today, because I don't know how much humidity that a soufflé needs. I've never cooked one before. So I'm guessing around 60%. I'm hoping that's somewhere there or thereabouts all right. So hopefully they turn out all right today, and it looks like they're starting to go already. And I've done them on about 160. I was torn between 180 and 160 before. If I go a little bit lower, just keeps me covered, hopefully. And then straight after these come out, we're going to be doing all these cookies here. So we've got about 72 cookies here in total. Took me a bit of time to do, but I got there in the end, and they'll be going in next. So last week after the live, let me just check my watch for the time. Put them in about 2 minutes past. So I cleaned all these ovens last week. Now it's the first time I've cleaned these ovens since I've had them, because they've not had a great deal amount of use. They've only been used for about 7 demos, so they've been on for about 7 hours. So not had a great deal of use, so I've not really had the opportunity to clean it yet. But I cleaned them all last week, and something I did notice between all of the ovens, that some of them were more dirty than others. And bearing in mind, they've all been used for the same thing at the same temperature and for there or thereabouts the same amount of time. But some of them were a little bit more dirtier. So the 2 that were slightly dirtier than the others was the Convotherm and the Rational. They were a little bit dirtier than the Hobart and the Electrolux. It was a visible difference as well. I could tell by just looking at it that they were worlds apart. Not too sure how or why that happens. Cleaning these 2 here, these 2 are the cheapest in regards to the chemicals that you use inside of them. So you might use more chemicals to keep them clean, but they are cost less. So for the Rational, it is, I think it works out about 82p a clean for the Rational, and then the Convotherm again is looking. Oh, sorry, the Rational's 58p, sorry, I believe, and this one is 82 pence, whereas the Electrolux is £3.30 a clean, and the Hobart is £2.47 that we've worked out for 3 light cleans a week. But with that being said, do these 2 need, like the Hobart and the Electrolux, do they need less cleaning? So, maybe it makes up for that. But I don't really understand the process on why one was more dirty than the other, but it makes sense that these 2 cost less to clean, these 2 cost a bit more, and so it sort of balances itself back out. Now, I'm not sure if, like I say, I've done something wrong with them, and that's why one was dirtier than the other, but they have all been used for the same things. Now, the only advantage that Hobart has was they were a late comer, so they missed the first demo, so it's only been used for an hour less than the rest of them, which really isn't a great deal of time. If you want to have a little look now into these ovens, these are all rising really, really nicely. I've not looked at the Hobart, but they all look to be doing really well. Now the Convotherm has got a little bit more colour on the top of them. I don't really like the colour on the top too much this early on, but because they've only got 3 levels of humidity in there, that's likely the reason why, because these can go to 60, whereas this can only go to 50, for example. I think that must be about where the middle ground is for it, so that's probably why it's got a little bit more colour. Another thing that helps them rise as well, if you run your finger around the edge of the souffle dish in the souffle, then that helps the top just lift up a little bit more. But these are working out all right at the moment. They've been in for about 5 minutes.
Maybe it's the different fan speeds causing different level of products.
Could very well be, could very well be. But these fan speeds, so that one, this one's only got 3 levels, and that's on the middle ground. This one's on number 4, this one's on number 4, and this one is 4 as well. So all 3 of that one, and that one are all the same. And this one has only got 3. And what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to try and pop the humidity up 1 level just to... I've messed it up a little bit here. So I've got to open the door when I didn't really want to. That's because I tried to change the temperature. I was trying to do it so it's more steam, but as you can see, I've tried to change the steam level now, and now I've got to wait for the oven to cool down again. A little bit annoying, a little bit annoying. The rest of them wouldn't necessarily do that. So I think I've got the temperature and the humidity about right in these for what they need to be, and they're not that far off. I'll probably give them another 2 minutes maybe. What are we on here? So we've been in 8 minutes, 2 minutes, I reckon they will be ready to come out. So yeah, as I was saying about the cleaning, a couple of them were more dirtier, but it's if you look back on last week's video and maybe looking inside this oven, you'd probably see that this one was relatively dirty, but it just shows you how good the cleaning is, because these are absolutely immaculate inside there now after a clean. Saves you a lot of time, saves you your chefs a lot of hassle for hand cleaning a convection oven, for example, cleaning it out, once every week or however often you do it. These are just so simple. They do it all for you, and they come out absolutely sparkling. So you cannot go wrong with that. You know what, they've rised really nicely. I'm really surprised, as I say, first time I've ever done it. So I'm quite chuffed with myself there a little bit. I think all the staff upstairs like to eat what I make, but these aren't going to be very nice once they're deflated. They're probably not going to be the best things to eat in the world, but they'll look nice when they first come out. 30 seconds left, I reckon. Something all these ovens can do as well, not necessarily this one, but if you had the Premium S, most likely you would be able to, is you can prove bread in these ovens as well, which, so we've got first coming out is Electrolux. Really nice rise, nice little tiny little bit of colour on the top, not too much, and they rose very, very nicely. Next we've got the Combi-Off. Got a little bit more colour on the top, but as I was saying, they've only got 3 levels of humidity, so maybe next time I would have put it on full humidity for it. But I suppose looking at, if that was on 50% and that was on 60, then that's probably the difference between 10% is a lot more than you'd think. Then we've got the next ones, which is the Rationale, which again look very nice. Bit of colour on the top, bit more than I would have liked, but it still looks pretty good. And lastly, the Hobart. About the same colour as the Rationale there, but by far these ones are the darkest. These are the lightest. I probably prefer these ones the most. And then these two are there or thereabouts the same sort of colour on the top. And they've all rose really nicely as well, which is just fantastic. So before I put the cookies in and stuff like that, just going to go through what some of these things look like, because some of you might not have seen it. So the Rationale comes with 2 different types of cleaning. You can have the tablet, sorry, or you can have the auto dose. This is what the auto dose looks like for them people at home that don't know what they are. So this is like a cartridge, and what you would do is you take the lid off, and inside there's chemicals. And if you open the oven door here, inside here is where they go. Now you can fit 4 in here, so you can have 2 green, 2 blue. I've only got 2 in at the moment, but this is where they would go, and this just avoids any handling of the chemicals at all. And these last quite a while, and they come in a box of 6, so you get 6 of them. So if you get a box like this and you put it on a clean every single day, it'll last you a good couple of months. But just really, these are just for really saving your money and saving you touching any unnecessary chemicals that you don't need to. But I thought I'd just let you know what that looked like. So you've got 2 options with that. The auto dose does cost a little bit more, and it's an extra thing that you can add to the Rationale. Now the Rationale, in regards to its specs, is got hundreds of different specs that it can be, and it's got loads of different options that you can have, like for example a left door, a right door, or there's a lot. I can't really name them all because I don't know them all. But I thought I'd let you know that's what that looks like. So next we're going to go for the cookies. So we'll start on the right here with the Hobart. Now I'm going to keep it on the same level of humidity and the same temperature as well. I did have a little trial one of these cookies this morning to actually make sure that they worked. They did. Maybe not work as well as I'd have liked, but I'm not the best baker in the world. But what I am going to do, I'm going to turn the humidity right up on this to hopefully give it a bit more. So as I was saying, bakeries can use these for proving as well. So these ovens can all go on prove. So you can prove your bread and then you can cook it straight away as well. So you have like the options where you can have a set function where it'll prove it for an amount of time. Then it will, I don't know, if you wanted to steam it for 2 or 3 minutes and then you wanted to bake it with a little bit of humidity, you could put all these settings onto here for your bread. Good for maybe little bakeries, or if you've got a very large bakery, because a lot of people have or buy like a proofer separately. You know, they do cost quite a bit of money. And then you buy an oven with it, you buy the oven as well. So it can get quite costly. So if you're only a little bakery, it really would be worth looking into one of these and having, you could have a 20 grid as well, depending on the size of it, for example. So they're good for all sort of aspects of catering, whether, you know, you're a pie maker in a butcher's, great for making pies as well. And you can cook the whole pie mix in there. As I showed you the other week, you can sear your meat in there and you can make that process on these ovens as well. So you could have sear the meat at 250 for 10 minutes. And then you can have a little option comes up that says, you know, add the water, for example, but you put other bits like bay leaves, thyme, garlic, all the rest of it, vegetables you can put in there and then add the water. But you could have them processes that says add the veg, add the water, and you can cook the entire pie mix inside one of these ovens and it works really well. And as I showed you the other week, you know, the meat doesn't lose a lot of its juices when it's searing inside of these ovens. Very, very minimal amounts come out. So it's just really good for retaining juice inside your meat and ultimately getting a bit more yield out of it as well. But you can do the whole process on here, and the best part about doing it in a combi oven is when you do it on a stove, you've always got that worry that it might catch on the bottom, and then it might catch a little bit to start off with, and that catch will just get worse and worse and worse as you continue to cook it. So you end up with KPs having to scrub the hell out of pans or whatever it might be, or you know you get a burnt taste through the I can't remember what it's called now, pie mix. So you might get a bit more of a burnt taste through it or something like that. But with these, you've got absolutely no worry at all about it burning or sticking. It'll just cook and cook and cook. And then once you finish cooking it, you can just tip all the juice out, reduce it down, pour it back in again, and then you've got yourself a nice pie mix. And then straight after that, you can do your pies up, whether it's individuals or if you do a big one or a big gastro full, and then you can cook it in there as well. So if you've got a butcher's that you do a lot of pies, fantastic for that as well. These have Avarios as well. iVarios, loads of different sizes. They've got like the Pro 2, I think, the XL and the XS, I think it is. And you can do the same thing in there. And these are really clever machines as well because they can be used for pressure cooking because they've got that option if you want it. It can be used as a fryer or a blancher or a fryer. So there's many options and they're only about this tall off the floor. Really cool little things they are. But you could also do your pie mix inside one of them if you wanted to. So you could have a Rational and a Vario side by side, doing it all for you. So you could make your mix and then bake the pies. And again, these have something very similar. So they've got like a brat pan almost, like a tilting kettle, which can go next to a huge blast chiller, which can then go next to a combi oven, whether it's a 10 or a 20, it's entirely up to you. And they also, the brat pan or tilting kettle does independently work by itself, but the blast chiller and the combi oven actually talk to each other, which is quite clever. A bit like what the sort of Rational can do with its iVario. So again, you can do the same thing with that as well. So if you have got a butcher's, a bakery, fantastic bits of kit for there as well. I'm trying to think what other applications you've got for it really. If you're doing a lot of buffets, if you're a large hotel that does a lot of weddings, funerals or whatever it might be, the 20 grid ovens could be really great for that because they have their own trolleys that can come out and you can have a retherm or you can keep all your plates warm. So you'd have your meat, your veg on the plates on a rack and then you would just sauce them as they come out and you'd pull the whole rack out and then you just plates down. So it's almost like having what are they called? Having like an alto sham. Not a lot of kitchens have alto shams these days, and maybe larger hotels do, but an alto sham is basically a hot hold for food, whether it's plates or whether it's gastros of food. So you've got the alto sham that can do that, but you've also got a combi oven that can do that as well. So it just goes back to that, you know, these can be used for so many different things, and rather than buying you know, an alto sham, a prover, and then a convection oven, you could just buy one of these and it will do all three things for you, or many things for you. These cookies look like they're coming along okay. So I think I've mentioned it before as well, that all these ovens can be stacked. So if you need the extra, if you don't want a 20 grid, for example, you could go for a 10 and a 6. That's the only option you have. You couldn't go 10 on a 10 because the working height is far too high. So 6 and a 10 is what they recommend. And that comes with its own benefits as well. So the way it would look is the oven would be on a lower stand. Now I think they can be between 20 and 40 centimeters from the floor. So the initial bottom oven will be a lot lower to the floor. I don't know what the total height will be, but you'd have a lower stand in general. And that's a really good idea if you've got 20 grids there, for example, because if one breaks down, you've got another one to tie you over. And you know, I don't think it matters which oven you buy. At some point or another, one of them it's going to break at some point, and you're going to need a part or a service call or whatever it might be. So it's always good to have that contingency, especially because in most kitchens, combi ovens are an absolute vital piece of kit to the everyday running of the business. And you know, if one of these goes down, and I've been in kitchens where it does, it's an absolute nightmare. It really does make everything so much more difficult. Always good to have that little contingency as well if you needed it. So I don't think these are too far off now, really. So, and sort of trying to come up with more ideas for things to cook. This is going to be going on for a few more months. So if anyone at home's got anything, or anyone in the office wants me to cook anything in particular, if you want to see something me do something, or maybe try and challenge me for something I've never made before, or challenge me for something that's quite difficult to do in an oven, then you know, be my guest. I'd love to take on the challenge. So as I've said previously, most of these ovens come with chemicals. Now they come with a starter pack, and that starter pack is enough to get you through a couple of weeks, if that, depending on how often you clean it. It's not very long at all, so we do recommend that you buy them with it and just get a tub of each for every single oven, just because it's just for good for general maintenance. And I'll just stop that. The grease proof keeps folding over. So yeah, so we always recommend you buy some chemicals with it. It costs you a little bit more to start off with, but they'll get you through at least a month, maybe 2 months, depending on how often you clean it. And it is part of the preventative maintenance. If you're not cleaning it regularly and a service engineer comes out and sees it's in an absolute state, they will take that at face value that you're not maintaining that machine, and it'll just cause you nothing but issues, especially if you've got in a hard water area as well, because these also descale as well. Descale themselves with the tablets. Now, I think I've said it before as well, you can buy separate water softeners from them, like CTU units. They're quite big, they're about maybe that big off the table, big chunky things like that, and it connects to the water mains. Now, if you've in a very, very hard water area, or if you've had previous issues where, you know, lime scale is a huge issue for you in the past, you can have one of them as well, which would it's just more preventative action as well, but you don't necessarily have to have one. Not far off. Give it 1 or 2 minutes and I think they will be good to go. So yesterday I managed to have a little play with the Hobart, because I've been trying to remember how to use the menu mix functions properly and stuff like that. Quite a lot to take in for me, but I'm trying my best with it. So again, between the 4 ovens, I would say, even though I've banged this on the highest humidity I can, they're still getting quite a bit more colour than the rest of them. You'll see it when I get it out as well. But they've got a little bit more colour on I can tell by the white chocolate as it's going a little bit darker. And I'll tell you, this is not only have I made soufflés for the first time today, but I've also very rarely make a cookie either. I've never really had a lot of places don't sell soufflés these days, but not a lot of places also make cookies as well. So this is it's a new one for me as well. We've got the Hobart here. Next is the Rationale Convotherm. And then we've got the Electrolux. Now, the Rationale and the Convotherm all look like they've cooked at the same sort of time, and they've also got the same sort of colour, and you can tell by the colour on the white chocolate that it's gone a bit browner, whereas the Hobart and the Electrolux is just a little bit less, I'd say, on the colour. They look good. I'm glad you approve. I'm glad you approve. I'm not a cookie man myself. My missus does a lot of baking at home, makes a lot of cookies, but I don't often very get the chance to do it. But they've worked out really nicely considering what is next. So yeah, I didn't have much to cook today. I was hoping it was going to take a little bit longer. I thought they would take longer, and I thought they would take a bit longer. So We sell all these ovens on our website. So if you are interested in buying one, you can give our staff a call and we can get it all arranged for you. It's not a problem. We also offer leasing on these as well. Or we also have iWalker Pay on the website, but you can also do that over the phone if you wanted to as well. I think if I remember correctly, I think if you buy it over 3 months on iWalker, it is interest free, and I think over 12 months there is interest on there. I can't remember the exact figure at the moment, but so that is an option as well, that you can pay it off over 3 months or a year, or if you prefer to go through a lease, and you could go up to 5 years on a lease, you can do it that way as well. Again, there is interest on the lease, but you can take it over 5 years. And the best part about any kind of leasing that you do and iWalker Pay is these ovens will make you money and pay for themselves whilst so they'll earn you money while you're paying it off. So if you haven't got the sort of capital to fork out on one of these at the moment, it's always a good option for you as well, that you can do that as well. And that's if you are interested in either of them 2 things that I just mentioned. As I said, the iWalker can be done on the website, but if you prefer to do it over the phone with somebody, you can do it that way. Or if you are interested in leasing, just give us a call and we'll get you passed over to our finance team and hopefully get it all approved for you and get you a new combi in. And as I said before as well, we can install it for you as well, which again is another cost, but it doesn't cost quite as much as an install most of the time. Or standard delivery would be curbside, and if you've got people there that can get it in and you've got people there to install it, then that's another way you can do it. And most of the time there's not much of a charge in regards to curbside delivery. Most of these they are readily available from stock, so you can order one and you'd have it there in 3 to 5 working days if needed. If you want us to install it, might be a little bit longer because we'd need to get it delivered to ourselves, and then once we've got it delivered to ourselves, our logistics teams would then book it in on a run. And we have 2 types of sort of installs that we can do. One costs a little bit more than the other, so we can do a 1-man install, so we call it 1 man with assistance. So if you've got someone on site that can help us get it on the stand, which is the tough part, so you can have 1 man with assistance, as long as someone's there, get it on the stand, or help us get it on the stand, shall I say, and then we'll do the rest of the install. That's what that means. And then we can also offer a 2-man install. So normally 2-man installs we normally do for schools or care homes, places where there's a lot of dinner ladies that maybe haven't got the strength to lift one of these things because they are quite heavy. So we can offer a 2-man install as well, which costs a little bit more to get the second engineer out there for you, but again, it just takes all the hard work out of it for you, which we are more than happy to do. And all our engineers are trained on combi ovens as well, so you've got the peace of mind that it's done correctly and you're not going to have any service issues relating to the install further down the line. Because I'm not going to beat around the bush. We do get people every now and then that install them incorrectly, and not just the combi oven, either other items as well. So if you really want to protect your investments, it's really worth just paying either a service partner in the UK to do it, or ourselves, which, as I say, we're more than happy to do for you. So I think I spoke about this before as well. We've got little QR codes on 2 of these ovens. So the QR codes are on the Electrolux and the Rational, which I think is just, it's only something very, very small, but I think it's really important, and I think it's a really good idea, because on here you've got troubleshooting manuals and various other little things that you can use, tips and tricks. So if you've got an issue with your Electrolux and you're not too sure how to resolve it, or if it's something that you can do at home, you can go on there and it'll give you a list of error codes and how to resolve it. And if, say for example, say if it's the PC board, then you're gonna need an engineer. That'll give you a good indication of what you need to get it fixed. And also, like, people get scared if an error code comes up, you instantly panic and go, what is that? Sometimes there's a really simple resolution to it, and that's exactly what that's there for. And it's just a really simple idea, but a really good idea at the same time, because we do get a lot of calls, and our staff upstairs, the sales team, will always try a little bit of troubleshooting just to see if we can get anything working. So it's just a little extra thing for you to do at home if you can. And as I said earlier, the Rational also has it, but on here as well, they also have connected cooking, which is where you store your recipes, your HACCP, and it's a free. Let me get into it. I'll show you. So this is what it looks like, and this is where you can discover new recipes. You've got explore the cookbooks. You've got lots of cool things on there. You've got a library which is full of recipes that you can do inside of the oven. And if you click on them, description, ingredients, it's got the recipe on there for you. Now, I'm not too sure if you'll be able to see this. I'm trying to find one. It's either, I can't remember which one it is. There's either a little, so if you look in the top corner there's like a Rational symbol, but it could be this one down here as well, this little tiny one. When you see a little symbol like that, that means the recipe and the process has been approved by Rational. So Rationale has tried and tested that recipe, and it works. So if you're unsure which recipes are going to do what, it's just a good indication that, you know, that recipe has been tried. And if you notice on there as well, it did have like a 5-star rating. I know there's only one review on there, but it just goes to show that. And then on here as well, you've also got your devices. So this is my combi oven that we've got down here today. It tells you it's up to date with the care, it's up to date with the cleanliness, manual cooking, that's what it's on at the moment. It's got no cartridge available in 1 and 4, but it has in 2 and 3, but it's 86 and 96% left. So if you're the owner of a business and you're unsure whether somebody's keeping on top of the maintenance, on top of the machine, cleaning it regularly, making sure there's chemicals in there, if you've got the auto dose, if you've got the tablets, it obviously won't tell you how many is left because you put it in there as you clean it. But if you're at home, you're the boss, you want to make sure someone's protecting your £8,000 oven, you can do it all from home, and you can sit there and, you know, if they've gone home without cleaning it, you can drop them a text and say, get back that kitchen now. But yeah, so just really handy to have. So that has got that. I do believe Electrolux has something similar, but I'm not 100% sure, but I know quite a bit about that one. But again, that's just another really, and on there as well, you've also got something else which is called, I've got the app on my phone, I can't remember what it was called.
Someone asked for these, the self-cleaning ones.
What, this one here?
Oh.
Yeah. So you got Training Global as well on here. So this, you can click on that, and then it'll take, this is the screen, as you may notice, it looks very, very similar, in fact, identical. And you can actually click on, like, so for example, if you want to, you can move to videos, and then it'll show you like various things and what you can do. But it'll also, it's got like little question marks in places. I can't remember exactly how I did it. But anyway, you can, it's got demonstration videos on there, and it's also got, like, if you're unsure about what a particular function does, you can click on it, and there's normally like I think there's like a question mark button that you can click on, and it will tell you what that's for, or maybe how to use it, and there'll be a video there as well. So as much as they can come in and train you on it as well, if you've forgotten something or you don't know how to do something, or because there's a lot to take in with these ovens. So that again is another little helpful tool for you with Rationale. And yes, to answer your question, these all self-clean. They all have chemicals that go into them. So the Electrolux has chemicals down here. So you've got detergent and rinse aid. The detergent ones go in the center there. There's like a little well. And then in here, you've got the rinse aid, and the rinse aid tablets will go inside there, like that. And then the Convotherm just has direct pipes for the chemical, and then that just automatically puts it in there per clean, depending on what clean you do, depends on the amount of chemicals used. Again, Rationale, I showed you earlier on, but I'll show you again just in case you missed it. Ooh. Auto dose goes in here, so these automatically dose the oven with the correct amount of chemicals. If you don't have the auto dose, or you don't want to pay for the extra for the auto dose, you can go for the tablets. And if you did have the tablets, they would go in this little center well that you can see down here. And then you've also got, there would be one inside here, I think, on the iCombi Pro, and you'd put the tablets in there as well. Hobart's very similar to all the rest of them. So you'd put your detergent tablets inside here on the little well in the middle, and then your rinse aid powder would go in here. So this is a powder. It's the only one that uses powder as well out of all of them. And they come in these nice little sachets down here. And you just use, the oven will tell you how many to use, but generally it's just one stick. But sometimes I think some cleans don't require any. But again, the rinse aid is for really descaling as well. I'm gonna have a little look at these cookies and see how they. So I think they cooked nice, nice and gooey in the middle, still a little bit. That was the Convotherm, and then we've got the Electrolux here, which again look really nice, really soft in the middle as well. Then we've got Rationale, which again really nicely cooked by the looks of things. Not bad for my first attempt. And then over here we've got the Hobart, which again looks really nice and moist in the middle still. Yeah, I'm still on. Oh wait, what's that? It was pulling up some letters that I didn't know what it meant. So, I had a lot of play with this the other day. I've been very busy at the moment upstairs in the office. So I haven't had a great deal amount of time to really practice with these, but this has got the menu mix, and I've been trying to figure out how it works. I have been told, but I just forget the process. So I'm going to give you a rough idea on what I've picked up on. So That's the cooking ambient, so you can set that to whatever it is you need it to be. 185. So you can choose the type of cooking you want, roast, for example, and then you could say, for example, you can go, so if you look at the temperature changes on each one, which these temperatures are looking pretty spot on. If I try, I'll do this one first. So rare, 47 degrees. I'd probably go a bit lower than that. I'd probably go more like 45, 40, 44, somewhere like that. But it's not that far off. So this is pretty spot on, really. Medium, 54, there or thereabouts. And then you can have the type of colour that you want on it. You can have no colour, medium, it goes all the way, 5 levels. And then you've got fast and gentle. Now, fast is just roasting your meat joint like you normally would in a convection oven. A gentle one is where it roasts at lower temperature for a longer time. And the benefit to that is you get a greater yield out of the beef itself. Then skip the preheat. So there you go. So if I had a thermometer in there, it'd tell me how long the beef's going to take, etc., etc., and it would cook that process for me as well. And then you can also do other things as well. So you can add other items onto shelves as well. I'm not 100% sure if I'm doing this 100% correct. I hope I am. So you could do a duck breast, for example, and then there was a way of changing this. I just can't remember how to do it. Maybe not. There you go. So you can, but bearing in mind, you can only have one probe in at a time. So I've got 44 on that. So you could do 2 things at the same time. Again, then you can have up to 10. I'm going to go back on Combi, back on 60, leave it there for now. So next one down, Rationale. So they have the same thing as well. So next one along now, Convotherm. Now Convotherm's actually got 11 shelves inside of there compared to the 10 that most other copies have. So on that 1, 2, 3, there's 11, but one's very, very close to the bottom, one's very close to the top. Now to fill that to the maximum with 10 gastros, you'd be needing to use 65 or 20 mil deep gastros. If you only had 100 mil gastros, you're only going to fit 5 in there, and 5's a push at best, because one will sit very close to the next. So on here, again, you've got your menus, and you've got your menu items. Now you can customize this, you can add your own ones, just like you can with Hobart, just like you can with Rationale, just like you can with this one here. It's got a little picture there for you to see as well. And you can, this will automatically generate it for you. So you've got 12 minutes at 210, you'd press start, you'd load. Now it'll start for you, there we go. And you can create your own recipes as well. So if you wanted to have your own processes, you could do that as well. Over here, this one's a bit more simple. So I believe you can change that. But this is the menu buttons here. I've not quite figured it out. I've tried reading the instructions on it, but I might speak to Electrolux this week about maybe just cluing up on that. But that's where you add your recipes. Very simple, very basic. But again, they do have the Premium S where it looks a bit more like the Rationale as well. There was something else I was going to say, and I cannot remember for the life of me what I was going to say. So, in regards to turning these ovens on and off, I don't know why it's such a big thing for me, because it just seems like something so simple. And with the Electrolux, you've got a nice little on and off button. I really like it. Turn it off, nice and easy. Again, on and off button here. And then Hobart's is slightly different, but all you do is you'd hold this in. A little thing will come up, and when it gets to the end, it'll just turn off. Now, I stopped it before I got to the top because I don't want to turn it off yet. But that's just how simple that one is to turn off. And when it gets to that stage, it'll tell you, do you want to stop the process? And I can just press no if I wanted to. And then that'll just turn off. Rationales, I find to be a little bit more complicated. So like these, no matter what screen you're on, you'll turn it off. With this one though, say for example, I'm in here doing an operation now. So I'd have to click out, hold this down, and then swipe across. It's a bit more of a process to get that off, I think, and I don't know why I find it a little bit infuriating to do, but that's what I like about these other 3. They're really simple to turn off. Now, I know I've said it before, it's so simple, but it's just one of them things that I just really like. The self-cooking centre that they used to do had an on and off button. It was the best feature on the whole oven. Trying to think what else I can go through. So I don't know if you've seen how clean these ovens are inside after I did a clean cycle on them. I'd love to have done it before and after, but I forgot. So absolutely immaculate, nothing wrong with that at all. Same for the rationale. Oh, mind out for the steam. Your camera's going to steam as well, I think. I'll let the steam get out of this one first. There you go. So inside here, absolutely spotless as well. Beautiful and shiny, and Electrolux over here again. Around the room. Again, nice and shiny inside as well. Very, very clean. Another big thing about combi ovens as well to take in consideration as well is looking after the thermometer on every single one. The thermometers are the most common things that break on them because they've all got a home, every single one. So this one here has got like a little slot that it just slots into nicely in here. And that's where it should live, and that's there for a reason. It's there to protect it because people bend them, people snap them, people break them all the time, and that's why these slots are here. And they have a home on every single oven, and that's where they should live. Another thing as well is the door seals on them as well. Another really common fault is people don't maintain these as well. So as you can imagine, the oven cleans inside, but it doesn't necessarily get all the outside of the seal. So it's really important to keep maintenance on that and just give it a good wipe all the time. And just maintain that as well because seals are not covered under warranty. So if you need a new seal putting on, you're going to have an engineer come out and sort it out for you, which is just going to cost you money. Same for the thermometer. If you break the thermometer inside of the oven, again, it's a consumable item. So you would be billed for a new thermometer, which it's not much, but when you got the engineer come out and change it over, it adds up quickly. So just another little item. Another thing inside of these ovens as well, these two haven't, that one hasn't got it. They also have these water hoses inside as well, right? Which can be used to wipe down if you've spilt something in there in the middle of service and you haven't got time to put it, because it has got a fast clean that's about 12 minutes, 15 minutes. If you have not got time to do that and it's, whatever it is burning like crazy, you can just give it a quick rinse out. Now, they do recommend that when you're doing that, you don't try and cool the oven down by just spraying water in it, because it's not the way to do it. I can't remember the reasons why they said, but you shouldn't really do that. If you want to try and cool it down, you can just press the temperature down button. And if I remember correctly, I've not done this for a very long time, and that oven will just push out all the hot air. So if you're going to do anything to cool it down, that's the way you should do it. The Hobart we have here doesn't have one. I'm pretty sure it probably can come with one, and then the Convotherm can come with one as well, and I believe the Electrolux can come with one as well, but again, that doesn't have a hose either. As I said earlier, these come in a Premium S, which you can do as well, which is the screen version of this as well. It does cost a little bit more than this one does, but it is what it is. These come in, this is the Convotherm Max. Now you can get the Max Pro, which is the better version of this machine. The reason we got this one was because it's just a really fantastic, simple to use budget machine that you just can't go wrong with. So that's why we got this one, but they have a Pro version of it as well, which is a really good oven. Again, rationale, they have the iCombi Pro and then they have the iCombi Classic. Now the iCombi Classic will look very much like what this one looks like here. Very simple to use. Now, the way they try and explain the difference between a Classic and a Pro is if you've got a skilled chefs who know what they're doing, they don't need all the bells and whistles and the confidence in their own cooking methods, a Classic will be fine. Now, I know a lot of chefs will want this screen just because they can say they've got a screen on it, but some of them just prefer to have the basic options because it costs a whole lot less, a lot less. You know, it's an extra couple of thousand to have the screen. So it can save you some money, and really, you know, not a lot of kitchens use these to the full potentials anyway, so is it really worth that extra money to get a screen if you're not going to really use it? So that's the question you've got to ask yourself when you're ordering it. Like, am I going to use Production Manager where I can have multiple shells on the go at the same time for brekkie shifts, or I've got specific cooking methods with overnight roast and Delta T cooking? If you don't really need all that, a Classic would be ideal for you, and it's going to save you money as well. And the way, like I said it earlier, the meat saves you money because you get more yield out of it. The same happens in a Classic as well. Maybe not because of the Delta T, but if you're searing off meat, so you're getting the same cooking process, you're getting the same outcome as you would if you were on a manual cook with all these ovens. The Hobart though, Hobart only do the one with the screen. They don't have a separate one yet, but the one with the screen is probably the most popular one we sell, unlike Electrolux, when Electrolux said this is their best-selling machine, just because it's on price and it's a really good machine, really reliable machine. It's got a fantastic name behind it, and they're made in, I can't remember now. Anyway, I did have it written down at one point, and I'm sure I've told you on a live before. All of these stands down here as well, they all come with, you might notice that they've all got runners underneath them. This is for like gastro trays to go underneath. This one hasn't got them because we didn't put it on this one. But all ovens can come with these tray slides underneath. But you can also have it without as well. So you could have it where it's just a plain box section. So it would look a lot like this Rational one here, where it's just sort of very basic, no panels on the side, no tray slides underneath. And they cost a lot less. So, you know, we make these stands for Rational here at Cater Quick. And I think this standard one here with wheels, I think it's about £350. But if you wanted the one with tray runners, they're more like 700, so it's almost double the price for a stand. And if you're not that fussed on being able to store gastros underneath there, then that's the ideal option for you. Or if you've got a lack of space in the kitchen to store food once it comes out of the oven, if you haven't got a blast chiller, for example, and you don't want to bang it straight in the fridge, I know it's not best practice, but a lot of people still do it, is you can store the gastros under there just until the worst of the heat goes, and then you can tub it up or stick the gastro in the fridge once it's cooled down a little bit. And if you're in a smaller kitchen with a lack of space, again, you could store empty gastros underneath there. If you haven't got shelvings for them or undershelves for them or no home for them, then maybe spend a couple £100 extra and get a little bit more storage for them as well. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else I can go through today. I need some ideas for next week's cooking. What's next week? Next week Thursday. So next week I'll be doing a demo again. I don't know what I'm going to cook just yet. I'm probably going to stick with some sort of pastry, some sort of dessert sort of thing, I think, because I've done a lot of meat, I've done a lot of veg, so I want to get onto this for a little bit. The following week, there won't be a demo on, so 26th of February, there won't be a demo on. I'm going to be at the Lakeland Hospitality show, so that's where I'm going to be on that Thursday, so there won't be one then, but we'll follow up the week after. But if you guys have got any ideas at home on what you'd like to see me cook next, then you know, drop a comment or give the office a call and let someone know. Or even, as I said earlier, these are here for you to trial as well. If you want to come down and have a little play with them, you're more than welcome to. There's a QR code on the Instagram page, or you can just give the office a call and book it over the phone. I'd be more than happy to come down and show you how they work, and you can bring your own food, cook your own stuff, or you know, if you just want to see what the control panels do before spending a lot of money on an oven. Or you could even bring your chef down just to see which one he personally prefers, and you might just save yourself a little bit of money. Anyway, I'll see you next week, and if you've got any ideas for me, just let me know. Thank you.